right. And I think that'll do it for our Dynamite review, and we will get to the elephant in the room here. I'm going to start off by letting you guys know that stories like this, now, this may be one of the biggest ones we've had in a while. Stories like this are why you don't see us covering the WWE very much. There's certain things throughout the years that they have done, said, and just in good conscience, I know that's, one of Rome's big things. Consciously, he just can't watch the show. And this story here may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I may never watch a WWE minute of their television again. Once this story fully comes out, it may completely eliminate them from my wrestling knowledge or whatever we want to call it, like future, whatever. Go ahead and take this one away, man.
And you say that, like, oh, we don't cover WWE much. It goes beyond, for me, it goes beyond, like you kind of touched on, it goes beyond covering it. I don't watch it. I don't watch Monday Night Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. Watching Hell in a Cell with you to do the stream, while I had a great time doing the stream. If we weren't doing a live stream or weren't doing a podcast, if this wasn't a thing, there is no chance in hell I would have been watching Hell in a Cell. It's so, we have a lot to unpack. I have a lot of notes on my phone, a lot of stuff to go through, so just bear with me. I'm going to try to, keep the news up as current as I can. So let's see here. So for those unaware, there was an article posted today by the Wall Street Journal. Vince McMahon is under investigation by the WWE board. This reporting is coming from Fightful. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal, the WWE board is investigating a secret $3 million settlement that Vince McMahon reportedly agreed to pay to a departing employee with whom he allegedly had an affair with, according to documents and people familiar with the board inquiry. A January 2022 separation agreement reportedly bars the now former employee, who was hired as a paralegal in 2019, from discussing her relationship with Vince McMahon or disparaging him. So for those that don't understand so far, just to keep everyone on the same page, basically Vince McMahon paid this former WWE employee $3 million, so that way she legally would not talk or discuss about an affair that she had with Vince McMahon, or speak ill of him moving forward. So Vince took $3 million of the company's money and paid this former employee,
And it's essentially called a hush fund or a hush order or whatever. I forget the terminology.
It's hush money.
Yeah.
Hush money. Hush money is what it's called.
Yeah.
The investigation reportedly began in April when other older non-disclosure agreements involving claims by former female employees of misconduct by Mr. McMahon and John Laurenitis, the head of talent relations at WWE. No, we will not be making a joke about his voice today. The Wall Street Journal couldn't determine how many previous agreements were being scrutinized. Board members reportedly learned of the $3 million agreement in a series of anonymous emails they received from someone who said the former WWE paralegal was a friend of theirs. The first email, sent to board members on March 30th, alleged that Mr. McMahon initially hired the woman at a salary of $100,000, but increased it to $200,000 after beginning a sexual relationship with her. So again, just to kind of keep everyone on the same level, Vince hired this woman to be, have a job in the company, in the office side of the company. Her salary was $100,000. They started having an affair. He doubled her salary based off the fact that he was having an affair with her. The email to the board also alleged that Mr. McMahon gave her like a toy to John Laurenitis. The board is investigating the allegations in the email. The people familiar with the inquiry said the former employee reportedly moved from the legal department in 2021 to become a direct assistant to John Laurenitis. Oof, so far.
Yeah.
But we're not even done. My friend was this is a quote, my friend was so scared, so she quit after Vince McMahon and lawyer Jerry paid her millions of dollars to shut up, the initial email to the board said, referring to Mr. McMahon's longtime lawyer, Jerry McDevitt, who negotiated the deal, according to people familiar with the board inquiry. Outside counsel for the board is reportedly still collecting information about the other NDAs, but has determined that the payments totaled in the millions of dollars. The board preliminary findings reportedly are that Mr. McMahon used personal funds to pay the former female employees who signed the agreements, including the one involving allegations against John Laurenitis. The directors reportedly received a copy of the $3 million agreement from one of Mr. McMahon's lawyers on June 12th. One person familiar with the inquiry said, the non-disclosure agreement provided an upfront payment of $1 million to the former employee, with remaining $2 million be doled out over a period of 5 years. People are familiar with the deal said. A WWE spokesperson said the company is cooperating fully with the board inquiry and that the relationship with the ex-paralegal was consensual. He added that the company takes the allegations seriously and it is dealing with them appropriately. Near the outset of the inquiry, lawyers for the independent directors asked WWE, Mr. McMahon, and John Laurenitis to turn over complaints or allegations about any relationships the executives may have had with company employees, one of the people said. So again, it's just a lot to take in. Just gonna stop for a second. Man, like this is shitty. This is really really shitty. So what's your take on this so far?
So I actually just had to go through my massive corporations sensitivity training and all the sexual harassment training and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally violates like everything that I just went through in my entire training, man. Like it's bad. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this comes with some jail time possibly for him, because I don't know if it was as consensual as they're trying to say it was. You know what I mean? Like by today's standards, you know, a guy telling a woman like, "Hey, I'm gonna fire you if you don't do this." You know, I don't even know. I don't even know, man. It's just despicable, absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
And
it's absolutely fucking disgusting. I mean, it's
yeah,
just it's just the next thing. You know, we're always talking about the next thing about this guy, about Vince McMahon. You know what I mean? And it's like it just makes me sick, and I'm so sick of it. And like I would love to sit here and talk about why I hate Vince McMahon for the booking reasons and like the awful booking and stuff like that and all the entertainment aspect of it. I would love to tell you why I hate Vince McMahon, but that just doesn't feel apt today. It doesn't feel
yeah.
appropriate. Maybe another day we'll have that conversation. So that's basically the report that Fightful took from the Wall Street Journal. Um, let's see here. I have a few things that I think worth sharing personally. Let's see here. Um, yeah, we'll go with this first. So hold on, let me pull this up because I thought this was a really, really good thread. So before we get into kind of more about the current, I would just like to run through a list of Vince McMahon controversies in the past. Are you
Yes,
okay with that?
absolutely.
All right, bear with me because as I was reading this thread earlier today, I realized how long it was. But again, we're going to talk about it. So Rita Marie Chatterton was the first female referee in WWE in the 80s. She got into Vince's limo to discuss her contract, but was forced to have oral sex to save her career. When she didn't agree, Vince allegedly raped her that night on July 16th, 1986.
So that's the one that Jordan actually just put in chat. Hashtag remember Rita Chatterton.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't say anything there when you mentioned that, Jordan. I knew this was gonna come across in the rundown.
Yeah, and apologies in advance, Jeff. If you want to kind of handle the chat here, I know I normally try to handle chat, but because I'm looking at a lot of stuff, feel
Oh,
free
you're
to
good.
stop me and read chat whenever you
Yeah,
need to.
you know, more than reading it
Um,
out loud, I'm gonna kind of respond to them in chat myself too. So
I got you. I mean, I want to hear what everyone has to say too. It's a conversation at the end of the day. So I mean, if you can, don't
yeah,
worry about. Don't you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
cool.
And now I might have these two of the stories mixed up here. The story of him passing her around like a toy to John Laurinaitis, that's with
Yeah,
the current $3 million hush money one, right?
correct. So
Which is
okay,
why she
so
quit, right?
okay, yes. So
Okay.
basically, here's what happened. So let's lay out the story straight up, like the timeline for this incident. So in 2019, WWE hired, we don't know her name, hired a female employee as a paralegal. Her base salary, her starting salary was $100,000 a year. She entered sexual relationships with Vince McMahon. Vince at that point doubled her pay rate, which is all sorts of fucked up to begin with.
Yeah.
Like it's a big issue. As someone who comes from management of a much smaller position, like that, there's so many things wrong with that.
It
That's an HR
violated
nightmare, fucking like right
everything.
off the bat. But so yeah, so she was making $200,000 after she started sleeping with Vince. At that point, Vince started sharing her and kind of treating her like an object and like a toy with John Laurenitis. So basically, he would pass her off to John, and John Laurenitis, who is currently married to the Bella's mom, by the way. This, you know what
Not
I
for
mean? Like,
long.
oh no, absolutely not.
I would at least hope not if she's got any self-respect.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so he's, John Laurinaitis is his right hand man in this, and that's where we're at. So fast forward to now, she's leaving the company, and so they paid her $3 million in hush money, so that way the story would never get out. However, unfortunately for them, the story has gotten out, and we'll talk about that later because we're going to talk about theories. Have a few of them. I'm sure chat might as well about how this all went down. But yeah, that's the current story.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go through these things that Vince McMahon has done. Okay.
Right.
Next up on the list. God, this is a disgusting one. They're all disgusting. But in 2006, Vince came up with an incest storyline with Stephanie. Vince's pitch was to have Who's the Daddy story with Stephanie's unborn child. The end game was either Vince or Shane being revealed to be the father. Luckily, Stephanie rejected the idea.
Thank God. Jesus Christ.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're like, oh, I'm gonna impregnate my daughter. Like, bro. Like, it's so fucked up. It's disgusting. Next up, this is a pretty well-known one for those that watch Dark Side of the Ring. In 1983, Jimmy Snuka was charged with the murder of his girlfriend, Nancy Argentino. Vince was the one who did all the talking for his employee. Vince allegedly paid off the investigators to save Snuka from legal troubles. To this day, WWE does not acknowledge those charges.
Wow.
2006, once again, when Edge won the world title and they did the live sex celebration. Edge and Lita were both against the live sex celebration segment but Vince McMahon didn't listen to anyone, including John Cena, who tried to cancel this idea. McMahon even threatened to fire Lita if she didn't do what the company had planned for her.
I did not know about that one.
Yeah, I know. Some of these I learned too. When Steve Austin's then wife, Deborah, filed domestic violence charges on him, McMahon was the one to cover up for him. He allegedly told Deborah to never discuss this publicly with anyone. In fact, after Austin walked out on WWE in 2002, he was briefly arrested for beating his wife.
Aren't they still married? I don't know. I don't know.
According to this, no. Jim Ross once revealed that Vince wasn't going to sign Gail Kim to WWE, but he changed his mind after Ross told him that men were into Asian porn. Jim even said that McMahon didn't believe such a thing existed in the first place.
Oh, what now? Can you say that one more time?
So Jim Ross has gone on record saying that Vince McMahon wasn't going to sign Gail Kim to the company. But he changed his mind because JR, who was pressing him to sign her, just saying whatever he could to get her to sign because she's a great talent, said that men would be into her because men are into Asian porn. Jim Ross also clarified that that McMahon didn't even believe such a thing existed in the first place.
Asian porn?
Yes. I don't know. It's fucking weird, but that's
a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah. The 90s steroid trial. Who could forget about the 90s steroid trial? McMahon was accused of giving steroids to his wrestlers like candy, and many wrestlers even testified against him. He even transferred WWE's ownership to his wife Linda because there was no way he was getting out of it without a miracle. Unfortunately, a miracle happened. Also, they didn't sue in the right court of New York, which is the only reason why the case was thrown out, which is like to this day baffles my life. I just don't understand how that worked. And for those that didn't see it, Dark Side of the Ring has an excellent episode on the steroid trial, and I definitely recommend you check it out.
Yeah, I kind of have some like inside knowledge on that one as well. Like, I wish I could get the guy to go on the record. My dad's friend, that Tom the Dream guy. You know, he's told me multiple stories of different wrestlers and him getting given flat out, just handed, you know, bags of steroids and HGH, but have no proof of it. I doubt he would ever come on. So,
in 1992, Terry Garvin and Mel Phillips were accused of sexually harassing a young ring attendant named Tom Cole. Garvin and Phillips were fired and were never brought back. McMahon knew about this, but still didn't do anything about it. Cole committed suicide some time ago.
yeah, I heard of that.
Vince McMahon personally interviewed Melanie Pillman on Raw the day after Brian Pillman's death. Used as a ratings ploy, they plugged it throughout the night on Raw. Vince used Melanie to avoid any accusations of drug/steroid abuse within the company. Which, if you've ever seen the promo or the segment, it's not even a promo. If you've ever seen the segment, it's fucking awful. Juan taking the words out of my mouth. Yes, John Cena. Vince did use the N-word, referring to John Cena in front of Booker T. That was on my list. I hadn't gotten there yet, but yeah, we can go through that first. Yeah, Vince McMahon. There is video. Look it up on YouTube. Vince says, "What up, N-word," to John Cena, in front of Booker T, and it's like, man, all right, cool.
Isn't he wearing the do-rag when he did that, or am I
Yeah, well, he was the ECW champion, so he was like, I don't know, he was like he was extreme, and he like, I don't know, man. I've watched a bunch of ECW as a Philly guy, and I never once heard the N-word like really used. I mean, I think maybe New Jack once, but that's New Jack, so
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? An affidavit, I don't know how that word is pronounced, of late Ashley Massaro details an experience she had during a WWE tour to the Middle East. She claims that she had been raped and sodomized by a member of the military while on the trip. Vince told her to keep quiet so the WWE's relationship with the military would remain intact.
Yes, this is a long list, Juan.
Yeah, no, I understand, Juan. They apparently, you know, Vince McMahon, so don't worry. We have plenty of coverage, and I don't mind, you know, you guys bringing things up because I might have missed things. Like this might not be a perfect list.
This
yes,
is crazy.
rest in peace, New Jack.
The farther we go, it's getting weirder and weirder to me that, like, how do people still freaking, when this guy comes out, people are still doing the worship thing with their arms, and I'm like, what's the matter with you people, dude?
It's just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting.
If I ever see people doing that again,
Well, that's the other thing. I was making a joke earlier, but WWE Twitter is extremely quiet tonight, and as it should be, because there's no defending it. It's just disgusting. Like, how can you watch this fucking company? How can you sit there week in and fucking week out, watch this company, knowing that this is the guy that's in charge?
I'm telling you right now that this is not the only hush settlement. I guarantee you there are others.
No
guarantee
way.
there's others.
Let's move on with the list.
Yeah, keep going.
After China was aware that Triple H and Stephanie had been in a relationship behind her back, things between her and WWE deteriorated. China stated in an interview after meeting with Vince about the situation, she was sent home, received a fax telling her she was not needed anymore, and was fired via fax.
Wow.
Yep. According to one insider, Vince not only did tremendous amounts of cocaine, but bragged about it. Vince is quoted as saying, "I can snort as much of that stuff as anyone can put in front of me and never get hooked."
So is that why all the WWE stands are constantly talking about Tony being a cokehead? That's got to be it. Because
probably. I mean, again, they just hate the product. They hate it because it's not WWE.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I would like, I don't know. If
that's
you hate
the only
WWE,
thing I hear
then,
from them. I'm just
like, I mean, if you like WWE, then like, I don't know. I don't want to be friends with you at this point.
Oh, dude, the firing of CM Punk on his wedding day, that pissed me off.
Oh, don't worry, Juan. That was
lot.
So I kept like 2 or 3 for the end, and that is definitely one of them. Once again, don't worry about interrupting the list. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't worry. I didn't forget that for 7 long fucking years. Don't worry about that. Let's continue because again, I do want to get through this list. We are getting close to the end, I promise. In 2006, McMahon was accused by a tanning salon attendant in Boca Raton, Florida. According to the criminal complaint, McMahon showed the attendant nude photos of himself. When she didn't bite, or whatever he was interested in, Vince was accused of forcing himself on her. Okay. McMahon repeatedly mocked Jim Ross and his Bell's palsy on WWE TV during the peak of the anti-bullying and Be a Star campaigns.
Oh, what a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. In 2005, Vince McMahon originally planned to do a KKK gimmick in WWE as confirmed by Chavo Guerrero. He further revealed in the interview that he wanted to go the whole 9 yards with the gimmick and said that he wanted to come out dressed as a KKK member, but they later backed out of the creative. Um, yeah, you know, Owen Hart. I know we got so far down the list, but here it is. 3 weeks after Owen Hart's careless death on a live pay-per-view, his wife Martha Hart launched a wrongful death lawsuit against the WWF. She included her children and Owen's parents on the lawsuit. WWE settled out of court for approximately $18 million on November 2nd, 2000. Once again, the Dark Side of the Ring is an excellent show, and the episode on Owen Hart is also fantastic. Highly recommend it. They did not do a good job at all. They basically hired rigging company that does sales to do the rigging for Owen to come down to the ring from the rafters instead of like the kind that like Sting was using, which was like for actual people use.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of negligence on that part of the company. Not to mention, like, they fucking went on with the fucking show. Like, Owen Hart dies in the ring, and they're just like, all right, well, show must go on. Scoop him out of the ring. You know, we talked about this a few weeks ago with Cody, when Cody tore his pec. And it's just like, that's all you need to know about this guy. Like, that's all you need to fucking know. The fact that, like, somebody died in his ring, and his response was scoop him up, get him out of the ring, continue the show. Oh, by the way, JR, we go live in 10 seconds. Can you let all the people at home know that Owen Hart's died? Like, what the fuck, man?
I'm in the camp of, I think it's a smaller group of people, but I actually believe that there was purposefulness put into that between Laurenitis and Bruce Pritchard, I believe. How do I say that word?
So I'm going to keep reading through this, Jeff. Can you confirm report in the chat that Sasha was released?
I do not have my phone on me, but I will start flying through the Twitter here.
Yeah, see if you can find anything. Juan also saying that WWE had the audacity to sue Martha back. I know, yeah. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Anyway, let's continue on the list. Jeff, feel free to butt in if you find anything for us on that.
Real quick, I wanted to say, speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, like you were there, you guys hear that WWE has stepped in and forced the cancellation of said show, and they're going to be basically taking over and making their own like pro WWE documentaries now instead.
I had heard a little rumor about that, but I don't think it's that they necessarily shut down Dark Side of the Ring. It was more so that they're just going to do their own version.
Dark Side's getting canceled, and it's rumored to be because they demanded it.
We'll see what happens. I think from what I heard, Dark Side, the creator said that it's not canceled.
Okay.
And that they would have a statement eventually. So there's probably something to that, but we'll see what happens.
I do remember that. We did mention Jimmy Snuka one, yes.
Yeah, I did mention the Jimmy Snuka one. Isn't it funny that like I'm going through this list and people are just like, "Oh, did you mention this one yet?" Like, there's so many that people are just. It's like a band playing a song, like their songs. Like, "Oh, did they play this yet?"
So it's not from any confirmed sources yet, but people are saying that they are hearing Sasha Banks has been released, but nobody that I can use to confirm anything.
Okay, well, we'll definitely keep an eye on the news. I mean, this is the out for them. Like, this is absolutely like at this point, like. If they want out, like tonight's the night to get out.
Oh, absolutely.
This company, if you want out, if you want to get off the sinking ship, tonight's the night.
Yo, I would go as far as if I was a female wrestler on that roster, I'd be like, you will not have me performing again while Vince McMahon is still the CEO of this company.
Absolutely.
We still have
a lot.
They should all threaten to quit right now. Like,
yeah. So anyway, we still have a lot. So let me continue to go through this. Matt Hardy revealed that Vince McMahon in 2003 wanted him to team up with Mark Henry and quote-unquote talk like a black person. Matt said he was supposed to talk about being suppressed and talk with a quote-unquote black slang. Okay. And then the last one I have on this list, but then I also have a few on my own personal list because this was all research I did. Tiger Ali Singh complained to Vince about making him wear a turban and traditional Indian garb, telling him it was offensive to his people and a desecration. Vince replied with, "You and D'Lo Brown are gonna put on those fucking turbans. I don't care about desecration." Other little, and again, like, we're not gonna go over like creative stuff that was in poor taste, whether it was his death angle or stuff like that. This is all stuff behind the scenes. I also kind of had a few other notes that I personally did before I did the research. McMahon treating his employees like independent contractors, despite the fact that, or I'm sorry, treating them, like independent contractors, bad healthcare, not caring about their safety, well-being. The releases and budget cuts, even during a pandemic, even admitting on air shortly after a round of cuts that he enjoys firing people. This was a thing that happened. And the other crazy thing about this whole story is, so this pay raise that he gave this paralegal to give her an extra $100,000, this happened literally at the same time as a round of budget cuts. So, like, they cut talent for budget cuts, but in reality they cut the talent because Vince was fucking an employee.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
The sick thing is I keep seeing stuff on Twitter that's like, oh, if I was a billionaire, I'd do the same thing. And I'm like, yeah,
like, what
you're
the
a piece
fuck
of
is
shit
wrong
too.
with you?
Fuck
like,
off.
what is wrong? Yeah, you're just awful. And then the last thing I have on the list of Vince McMahon stuff is the Saudi blood money. Like, let's not forget, like, we're talking about all this other shit, and him taking blood money from Saudi Arabia is still fucking disgusting and not okay. But so that's the list I have on Vince McMahon. I'm sure there's more. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time doing this research.
So, real
Jordan
quick,
saying he cut Wyndham.
Wrestling News, who have 186,000 followers, they're reporting Sasha Banks has been released. But people are saying that Sean Ross Sapp has said she is not confirmed released yet. It looks like it could go either way right now. We have some people saying yes and some saying it's not confirmed.
Okay. Just keep an eye on it. I mean, we still have some more time to go before the show's over. So, if we got to talk about that, we'll, again, we already both kind of agreed that we're pulling a little bit of a late one here. So, everyone's enjoying us. Thank you to everyone that's sticking with us through the show, and really appreciate it as always.
Jordan saying they cut Wyndham to pay Sasha?
To pay, no, they cut Wyndham to pay the paralegal.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Which is just, again, fucking disgusting. Yeah, Juan in the chat even saying Vince's alliance with Trump should be mentioned too. I mean, yeah, he was very close with Donald Trump. I mean, that's definitely true. Which is always kind of a yikes thing. I mean, I believe Linda was too, though. So it's like, which I don't feel bad for Linda necessarily. I mean, she kind of like, she enabled Vince to be this way. But yeah, I mean, it's very true. The McMahons are definitely MAGA. MAGA. So next up, I'm going to kind of go through another Fightful report. This is premium content, so pay for you guys. So again, this is per Fightful. So WWE has made their staff aware of the Wall Street Journal article and issued an internal email to many of their staff saying the following. The Wall Street Journal has published a report about WWE with allegations that we and our board of directors take very seriously. We are cooperating fully with the independent investigation initiated by our own board of directors. End quote. WWE did not respond to comment when Fightful reached out to numerous reps for inquiries. Sources that they've spoken to even indicated that the alleged relationship between Vince and the paralegal was suspected by many in the company, and indicated that she was given a substantial promotion around the time of April 2021, those cuts. So again, like Jordan said, around the time Wyndham was cut. We're told specifically she was promoted from John Laurenitis' assistant to a director role that spring. There hadn't been much of a mention regarding this investigation when Fightful would prod WWE sources about Stephanie McMahon's departure or Nick Khan taking over her duties. Fightful also asked to clarify when Nia Jax tweeted on April 30th, "It's a shame. Some people deserve to get the opportunity to shine like the star they really are, but unfortunately certain higher-ups can never see past their own perverted ways. Too bad there aren't the lucky ones who can use blackmail to keep their jobs." So that was a tweet from Nia Jax on April 30th.
I remember that tweet, actually.
Mm-hmm. And, also, kind of while we're on the subject of that type of thing, what really stuck out to me today was the Serena Deeb promo from 3 weeks ago, or right before Double or Nothing, where she talked about getting breast implants for perverted old people at the last place she worked at. You know what I mean? And, like, you know what she's talking about there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jordan, they were all emailed. All of the execs were emailed the information. So, yeah, they started the investigation from within because they had no choice.
Keep in mind, they're a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
So, like, when Vince takes this $3 million off the books to pay,
Yep.
like,
That's
this
illegal.
is
It's gotta
this is
be.
illegal. He's fucking with investors' money. Like,
Mhm.
again, like, I was talking to Forrest earlier today. I was texting him and I was like, I don't know, like, this, if there's ever a time for, like, it all to finally catch up with Vince, this would be the time. If it doesn't happen here, he's going to get away scot-free till he dies,
No.
because like, this is like some really high stakes shit. He's fucking with investors' money. You can't do that.
This is the end of Vince McMahon as we know him. There's
Yeah, Juan asking in the chat, do you think Vince committed infidelity or adultery more than once? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
With these types of cases, more women tend to speak out, especially in rape cases.
And you got to think he's in his 70s now, and this just happened like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, what we're talking about. If he's doing it at this age, he had to have been doing it even more as a younger, when he was younger, when the laws were much more lax too.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no way that it wasn't an ongoing thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no way, like, or that it wasn't. Like,
Alfred and Gareth paid him. Those are some
anyway.
WWE Twitter stands.
Yeah. So continuing on, because again, there's a lot to cover here.
Holy shit, this list is way longer than I thought.
Yeah, I know. There was no mention of this from the WWE reps or higher-ups, and Jax was dismissed as bitter on background. This would have been after the investigation was already underway. For those asking if Stephanie McMahon's absence is tied to this, or if she had knowledge of the allegation, she's on the company board and would have been made aware of the investigation, as would have Triple H and Nick Khan. There was immediate speculation that someone in the company intentionally leaked the information. John Laurenitis was given back the spot as head of talent relations in 2021, and immediately Fightful heard from the female talent who expressed frustration and displeasure with the move. Completely separate from hiring practices, which many of the women we spoke to felt were archaic, one followed up today with the condition of anonymity. Oh my god, being anonymous.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I had that earlier.
I'm can't do it for some reason. And said, I'd rather get all my shit sent to me in a trash bag when I get fired than have to deal with him. And neither are good options. Immediately, those that we spoke to in WWE on one condition of, being anonymous, agreed with early assumptions that this is the biggest threat to Vince McMahon's power in WWE since the steroid trial nearly 3 decades ago. The same sources we spoke to with expected John Laurenitis to be replaced before all is said and done, and one speculated that he's being set up to be the latest fall guy for Vince. His turn in line was coming. Another male wrestler who was active in the 2000s and 2010s said that there had long been rumors of John Laurinaitis' alleged misconduct. A former writer said that it was an open suspicion in the mid-2000s. One former employee said that they believe this will be a domino effect and believes Vince McMahon will fight hard to stay, but doesn't see a situation in which Laurinaitis doesn't resign. It should be noted that neither McMahon or Laurinaitis have been charged with a crime in this situation, and as of now, there's no indication whether they will or not. Sean Ireland in the chat is asking what he is being investigated for. Been busy. You missed a lot then. So to keep it, just to kind of recap just to recap very bluntly for Sean. So basically a report came out today that Vince McMahon paid $3 million in hush money to a paralegal that has left the company The hush money is for the fact that he has sexual relations with her. She was hired in 2019 as a paralegal at a salary of $100,000. Once she started having sexual relationships with Vince, Vince doubled her salary to $200,000 a year. At which point he started treating her like a toy, passing her around with John Laurenitis. So that is the blunt of the situation. Juan asking, do you think Linda will potentially have to step down from her political role because of her husband's actions? Yes and no. I'm well, no, but also yes. So here's the other thing, right? So I think that regardless of whether Vince stays or not, I do not think we see The Rock in WWE at WrestleMania next year anymore.
Nope.
I think that's off the table.
He is
I think
done.
that The Rock wants to run for president. And I think he does not want any part of this shit show. So I'm not saying that I think Rock would win a presidential election, but I know for a fact he's trying to keep himself out of controversy. So, I think this really affects the company in a lot of ways, apart from the obvious. I think that you're not going to see The Rock next year. There were really weird rumors that I had seen floating around on Twitter today. Not sure how real they were. That Linda basically has not lived with Vince for like 10 or 15 years, which I totally believe. And like apparently she's been living in like Florida, completely away from him. Juan saying Nick Khan was childhood friends with The Rock though. Yeah, and like maybe if some drastic changes were made, I could see The Rock being at WrestleMania next year. But I mean, just being completely honest, I mean like if Vince were to stay, that's it. Sean saying so they're investigating him to see if he used the company money or his own. I would assume so. I mean, we don't have a lot of details yet. What I've pretty much shared in the chat is, or in the stream, is what we have right now. I think he's just under investigation, number one, to see if it's true or not. If this was basically revealed to the board of directors via an email. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it would definitely partially be whether it was his money or the company's money. But also your CEO should not be doing things like that. So there's a lot of PR nightmare all over this thing. Like number one, having sexual intercourse with an employee, doubling her pay rate because she's having sex with him, objectifying her with another, higher up in the company. There's just, take your pick what you want to investigate it for. It's just all around. It's just not good.
Yeah, I'm just disgusted. This list is a lot longer than I thought, man, and I'm glad we're going over it because it's just reinforcing, these are the reasons, guys. This is why we don't cover WWE here.
Yeah. So I mean, let me see. I think I'm almost done. Believe it or not. Let's see. So there was a report that someone at WWE has moved very swiftly against the McMahon family, Vince's retainers, over the past 3 or 4 months. Doesn't take a lot of brain power to guess who.
Yeah.
So basically, here's another little report that I was able to actually pick up. A common belief among people inside of WWE is that, number one, Stephanie stepped down because this was coming and she didn't want to be associated with it. And number two, and again, I'm not sure the validity of the source, admittedly, but I believe this person has had some decent sources in the past. Triple H is the one that leaked the story. So I don't know what I believe in that sense. I mean, there's reports of a lot of people. I think common sense is Nick Khan reported the story. I think that, I mean, in the matter of 4 months, all of the McMahons are out of the company. I think I actually had that as a note. Okay, here it is. So January 29th, Vince and Shane rumble spat. Shane is removed from further plans. So Shane leaves the company January 29th. March 25th, Triple H reveals his health details, announces his in-ring retirement, and basically that he's, stepping back, but he's still in the company. May 19th, Stephanie McMahon announces she is taking a leave of absence from the company. And then June 15th, today, Wall Street Journal drops his allegations about Vince. So, in a matter of 6 months, the McMahon family has been ousted. from the company. So, I mean, you would have to assume that Nick Khan, which I'm not going to make a lot of jokes tonight, but I will make the joke that maybe Nick Khan was a sleeper agent all along.
Yeah.
Tony Khan like pressed the button and he activated. He's just like, time to shut this shit down.
So many people are stating that the WWE, if this is true, they obviously released this Sasha Banks information to deflect from this story. So if she has been released, it's obvious. Just, hey, look over here, not over here. Another pathetic display.
It's not going to work, though. I mean, this is a much bigger story. Once this becomes a little bit more well-known publicly, which, again, it was posted in the Wall Street Journal, which you don't get much more public than the Wall Street Journal. You know, it's going to be a big thing. And I think Juan, you know, he's right that John Laurenitis will definitely be fired. And I agree with him. I mean, it's definitely uncertainty about whether Vince is going to get gotten rid of or not. I mean, I'll tell you this: if he's still there, like, it just doubles down for me that I hate that company, and I hate what it represents. Could Nick Khan do better than the McMahons? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely an argument that he could. Is he going to sell the company? I mean, that's also a possibility. Maybe Nick Khan takes control of the company and, you know, sells it and pockets $5 billion and rides off to the sunset. I don't know. Maybe that's what his plan is. You know, at the same time, you know, can I entertain the conspiracy that it was Triple H? I absolutely can. I think that they have slowly beaten Triple H down like a dog. And so I can kind of sympathize with that. I mean, they took his baby NXT and they destroyed that. They took his responsibilities away. They destroyed that. I mean, you know, it's not necessarily their fault he lost his wrestling career, but I mean, you know, it was a heart issue. So, you know, you don't know the constraints that job might have had on him to cause the heart issue to begin with. So, you know, I don't want to speculate necessarily about his heart condition, but I mean, I can definitely entertain that thought process. Like, if it's not Nick Khan, if someone was like Triple H did it, number one, I'd be like, you know, fuck yeah, my guy Triple H coming through clutch. But like, also, like, I understand it. It's totally understandable. It's a shit show. It's an absolute shit show right now.
Yeah. Real quick here, do you recognize the name from Wrestling Inc., Raj Giri?
Yes.
So he is reporting Sasha Banks has been released by the WWE.
He has proven to be somewhat reputable in the past.
Yes. So, wow.
I'm going to do some research too, see what I can come up with. I know you are as well. Why don't you talk about that for a little bit? I've been talking for like 20, 30 minutes. So.
Oh, yeah. If this is true, man, obviously they released her to deflect from this story right now, trying to get people to talk about Sasha instead. But I don't think that's going to work. People are still extremely disgusted by this entire story from the Wall Street Journal. But man, if Sasha is available at the moment, oh my goodness.
Hold on.
All right.
Fightful's reporting it now.
Fightful is now reporting it. Let's fucking go.
Give me Mercedes. Now they are citing Raj Giri as their source.
Okay.
Fightful is reporting boss time could be running out. According to a report by Raj Giri, WWE has released Sasha Banks. He does not state whether this was a company decision or done at the behest of Banks. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp has reached out to WWE, but they were unable to confirm the news at this time. Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out about an hour ago, I spoke with Raj this afternoon and asked WWE about this. As of this evening, they said they hadn't heard that and that talent relations didn't seem to know. Not saying that it didn't or isn't happening, but this is what I've heard so far when I asked. Raj has good sources.
Okay.
So Sean Ross Sapp, even though he can't confirm it on his end, he's saying that Raj Giri has legitimate sources that can back it up. And Fightful feels strongly enough about this being a possibility that they are reporting on it. So there you go.
Bet you the source is Mercedes herself.
Possibly. Sean Ireland saying he could see Nick Khan running the business side and Triple H run the creative side. Honestly, I'd be okay with that. Yeah. And, you know, it was actually funny. The wife asked me today, if Vince steps down, will I watch WWE again? And I told her I would have to see how it shakes out, like the business side. But
Yeah.
if things can get better there and we can get rid of the garbage and like if that place can be better, I would definitely entertain the idea. But there's a lot more issues there than Vince McMahon. So it wouldn't just be that. I would need to see Vince gone. I would need to see Kevin Dunn gone, which Lord, like I don't know how that would go. I
I
mean,
need
maybe if
four.
Vince leaves.
I need four people gone. Vince, Laurenitis, Pritchard, Dunn.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the four for me too. I was getting there, but yeah, those are my four as well.
They're my four horsemen of the apocalypse. Get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Sean Island also saying that Fightful did report it but didn't confirm it. But yeah, I mean, I've heard, I know of Raj Giri, and if Sean Ross Sapp says that he has good sources, which in the past he's proven that he does,
Yeah.
that would be
That to
a
me,
confirmation for me. I mean, I would definitely. I mean, obviously, again, it's not confirmed by Fightful, and Fightful is one of the sources that I personally really trust, like him, Meltzer. For me, it's like the Observer and Fightful are the two that I trust the most.
yeah.
Um, oh, I mean, we'll see.
Hey,
But man, what a
Raj
huge
gets
day.
this, if Raj breaks this, man, he'll be one of my go-tos from now on.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's had good sources in the past. I mean, I've definitely used some of his reporting before for us. It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh yeah. All right, well, that's good news for AEW. I can tell you that shit right now. As soon as Tony Khan confirms if that is true or not, I guarantee you he's got that phone in his hand. So, Mercedes and AEW. So I'm gonna make a statement here that may be a little controversial, and I want you guys to slap me if it's too far. Signing Mercedes Vernado, Sasha Banks to AEW is the biggest thing that they could do besides getting someone like Roman Reigns. I don't think there's anybody out there bigger than Sasha Banks. Not even in the men's division on the E.
Are you saying like realistically or
like if they were to sign Sasha right now, I don't think there is anybody other than Roman that could be as big of a signing for AEW. Even though
in terms of hurting WWE?
What's that?
In terms of hurting WWE?
Yeah.
I would say Charlotte Flair above Sasha.
Really? People hate her though.
It's the pedigree of it. It's the fact that it's the legacy of the Flair name, the Queen. You know what I mean? Like she's main evented WrestleManias more than Sasha has. I don't think Sasha's ever even main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah, the Sasha stands mixing with the AEW fans is gonna be crazy. They're definitely gonna have to
see the WWE fans kind of be like, but, oh no.
But I was told that this was terrible over here. What?
I just hope someday that like WWE diehards will just try it. Just watch the show. Like.
No, Sean, I agree. You don't have to delete that message, man. I agreed.
What did he say?
He said, I think that, never mind. He said if Raj is wrong, he might as well delete his Twitter.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. I mean, it's a big claim to make right now. But again, Raj has good sources. And also, I don't think Raj would tweet about it unless he was somewhat sure about it. So, obviously, this is, it's getting a little late here. It's 12:10 on the East Coast, where pretty sure Sasha lives on the East Coast, as does WWE corporately is here on the East Coast. So it's about midnight now. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to necessarily get much of a confirmation right now.
No. Have we finished
I mean, it's definitely possible.
Have we finished our list of the Vince horrific blunders?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much caught up. I mean, that's the news that we have right now on it. It's just extremely shitty. We'll obviously be reporting on it as we go along. If there's any news developments directly tomorrow, we'll probably do a live stream. And if not, we'll definitely touch up on updates on Friday when we do our post-Rampage show.
Yep. So I do see we got quite a few people back in our chat here now. For those of you who are arriving late, we'll do a quick recap of what's going on here. The Wall Street Journal has covered a story of the WWE internally investigating Vince McMahon for a $3 million hush agreement with a former employee, a paralegal. Apparently, Vince had sexual relations with her and agreed to double her salary in exchange. He reportedly passed her around to other executives like John Laurenitis. And this has now started a humongous investigation internally. You can almost guarantee that there's going to be more hush things like this. I mean, a 70-something-year-old man, there can't just be this one, and it's only a year old, 2 years old. There's got to be more. The closet's going to be full.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah.
Commenting on Sean in the chat again, saying it's hard not liking WWE. Grew up with them. Like,
Exactly,
man, listen, I understand.
Dude.
No, I get it. I also grew up with them. Like this, I was not a WCW kid growing up at all. It's just, it's like there just comes a point where you gotta look at what you're doing and just like, or what you're consuming, like whether it be like wrestling or anything in life, man. Like if something's toxic, like you gotta jettison it. It's just, it's not healthy. And WWE is just something that's not healthy. Like I get it. I do get it. I understand. Again, I was in the same boat. I was able to cut myself off 2 years ago. And I was able to say, enough is enough. I can't take it anymore.
And dude, Sean's statement right there, I could not have put that into better words. Like when you tell me like to quit watching and like, be serious here for a moment. That is literally like the struggle within me. Like I've been watching since I was 4 years old with my dad, like since I can remember pretty much. And to just stop is like super hard. But like I said earlier, this was the straw that broke the camel's back, man. I don't think that I am going to be able to turn that channel on ever again until Vince is out of there and those 4 we just named are out of there.
And again, I know we make a lot of jokes on the show, about hating WWE, and like when I'm saying this from the heart, like wholeheartedly, like I completely understand what the dilemma you go through, with the dilemma Sean goes through, with the dilemma with everyone goes through, because I'm the same way. Like I would love to get excited to watch Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. I absolutely would. You know what I mean? Like there are people in WWE still to this day that I wish I could watch on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Honest and wholeheartedly.
Kevin Owens,
but it's
man.
like
so good. Like Kevin Owens is so good.
Yeah, man. I was such a big Kevin Owens fan, and it breaks my heart because I know he's there doing great work.
Yeah.
But like I can't do it. I just can't do it. And like I understand. Like it's super depressing. Because again, it's something we grew up with. Like it's something that like is ingrained in us to love this thing. It's like without WWE, like I don't watch pro wrestling, and then I don't watch AEW. You know what I mean? And AEW doesn't exist without WWE. Like that's just the truth. There was a need for an alternative, and AEW filled that hole.
Yep.
So it's like, WWE is super important in terms of its legacy, but at the same time, like we can't. I can't look at this list that I just read off to the stream. Which if you weren't here for it, once the podcast is over, the stream's over, please go back and watch it. I think Jeff's going to be doing some editing to kind of cut the podcast into 2 different videos.
Oh yeah.
But please check it out later, and just like the laundry list of things that Vince McMahon has done and the things that this company does and continues to do. And we're not even talking about the booking aspect, because the booking is bad enough for me to stop watching. But like, just the way this company has handled things, the way it treats its employees, because they are employees. They are. To say they're independent contractors is fucking ignorant. They're employees. Take care of them. Treat them like employees.
Here's a good point that I saw today. When have you ever seen a controversy in the WWE that was handled the proper way and not tried to get swept under the rug or paid off?
That's true.